Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. So I wanted to ask you, do you feel alone? Now, with that question, you could probably be thinking about a few different things. Um, you could be surrounded by people and feel alone. You can really be alone, lost people, lost friendships, not just like through death, but lose people along the way here in this thing we call life, our journey called life. Or maybe you feel alone because you don't have a significant other, a partner in this journey. So there's a few different ways you can take this, but I wanted to address this because it seems like there's quite a few people that feel alone. And the first thing I will address is well, first of all, do you feel alone? And if you could comment below, like, which way do you feel alone? That would be great. Just to share, ask questions, of course, but to share with other people too, so other people can see that they're not alone in this, basically. You could be surrounded by people in all the time, but feel alone, and that more than likely is because you can't relate with those people, or you don't trust those people, or you just have an outlook that everyone is out for themselves. No one really cares about you. Everyone's fake. I've kind of touched on those topics and stuff, but the question, I guess, would be, why would you surround yourself with people like that where you still feel alone? And sometimes sometimes, like, you may surround yourself with people, doesn't matter who it is, just to try to distract yourself. I've talked about distractions, keep you busy and stuff like that. Or you identify who you are with the people that you surround yourself with. And more of an outside perspective, like prestige, fame, to show off, and that sort of thing. Something dealing with outside yourself, not really who you are inside. And so I want to address this, and I've talked about, be true, be authentic. You got to desire truth. Because if you are fake out here and surround yourself with people that you're not really relating to, that don't share, the same things that you have in your heart and mind, then you will feel alone, even if you're surrounded by people. And in a way, that's almost worse, because you're around people and you still feel alone. But I want to bring this up because maybe you're not being true out here, what you say and do, with what's in here. And I've mentioned before, you have to be true and authentic, and peace comes from that. And not just peace, but you're on the right path, because God created you. He knows what for a purpose, and He knows what He created you for. And if you're not going down that path, it's not going to be peaceful. It's not going to be easier. It's not going to feel. You're not going to feel fulfilled, if that makes sense. Okay, because you're going to feel like something's missing, because something is missing. You're on. You might be. On a wrong path. So I want to bring this up because you have to, well, again, I've talked about, involve God in your life. You have to have a relationship with God to see truth, and to help and have Him help guide you. But to do that, He is truth, so you have to be true. You have to be authentic. Not just your relationship with God, but your relationship with other people. And when you do that, people will be attracted to you that share the same beliefs, desires, thoughts, all that stuff, and it's just more enjoyable. Okay? You may not want to identify yourself with whatever group or label or whatever is more true to what you really are. And so you're fighting that, and there's conflict, and you feel alone. You don't feel fulfilled. So I wanted to bring that to your awareness, because it's a lot better just being true and authentic. Okay. And then I want to address, maybe you really are alone. Maybe the friends you were hanging out with, like something happened or whatever, and you're no longer have that relationship anymore, or maybe a significant other or whatever. Well, I want to bring this up because that can be like when you think you've had something or had it, and then you think you've lost it. That can be hard, definitely. Well, and the thing is this, though. One of the biggest blessings of my life was when God isolated me. God will isolate you if you need to work on things, realize things, or even maybe just become aware of Him and involve Him and rely more on Him. But it's always for an expected end that's good, even if it feels painful or literally your world is crumbled around you. I've talked about that in my life. But really, it can be the biggest blessing because He's really trying to protect you, to allow you to be free, instead of having all these people judge you, and you worry about being judged, and how you look to other people. You got to worry about satisfying other people, making other people, like all that stuff that's outside of yourself. Maybe you need to work just and focus on yourself. And maybe you're used to doing all that stuff because you're wanting distractions to keep from facing truth inside yourself, because it's not easy. But God does isolate us to work on us, which ends up being the biggest blessing, because we learn more about ourselves. We have to face truth, basically. And once you face it and you overcome certain things, then you overcome it. You're at peace with it. It doesn't keep you, it doesn't hold you back. And it's freeing. But you gain more confidence and more wisdom, like I've said, going through trials and tribulations, going through the fire. Like one of the most famous examples of these, of course, is when Moses led the Israelites from Egypt. God just parted the Red Sea for the Israelites, but they still built a golden calf. Okay, like because we all do this. Okay, it's like we can hold our attention, or like when feelings change, we may change. It's kind of what I'm trying to get to. Like, yeah, when the Red Sea, oh yeah, the Lord is the best, the Lord is great, the Lord is almighty. And then you're in the desert, for years, and then you kind of lose track of that. But anyways, the point of that was God was working with the Israelites, His people, so that they can be an example of truth on this world for others. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that God only works with the Israelites, but that's an example in this instance of isolating them for 40 years in the desert to work on them. Okay. But God does that with us as individuals as well. Okay. So if you're feeling alone like that, like literally, people that were in your life are not in your life any longer, there's probably a reason for it. And if you do want to get through that, you got to face truth. Just like the previous example, you may be surrounded with people but still feel alone. Well, there may be a reason. You need to face truth. Like, you need to involve God, because God is truth. Maybe, and like I mentioned before too, maybe it was a significant other that is no longer in your life. And that's a huge thing. So, sometimes we, again, like the first example, identify ourselves on the outside, and so who we're with, we show it off, or we think based off who we're with, determines what we're worth or whatever as a measurement. But if it's not true, it doesn't matter. Okay? Because again, everything on this world is temporary. And when you have a significant other who's like a partner in this journey, if they're not going to help you in this journey, then it's better that God separates you from them. Okay? Even though it's painful, like I said, all this stuff is painful. Change is painful like this. Breaking illusions, truth is painful. Okay? But once you go through that fire, you come out like gold. Pure and like with gold, it doesn't corrode. That's why gold's been valuable throughout history. It doesn't corrode, degrade like that. And that's the thing, that you'll be like eternal. All the BS gets burned off, and what's left is what's true. Does that make sense? Hopefully. But I want to bring this up because it seems like this world, if you're looking outside of yourself, this world will tell you, oh, you're a loser, or oh, you can't get with anyone, or whatever. Okay? And if you identify with that stuff on the outside, it's going to be painful. But that's why I was saying, you really don't be concerned with the outside, because everyone has their own perspectives, their own journeys, their own lessons, and sometimes people identify with what others say, and they don't even know those people, and those people don't even know them. And the thing is when you know yourself, and the only way to do that is to be authentic and true, and to help you with that, you need to involve God. Okay? But when you know, like truth, like I've said, isn't shaken. Okay? And so it doesn't get to you. But when you identify with things on the outside of yourself, that changes depending on the person, depending on what's happened. Like it's not stable, okay? Because those are illusions, and illusions and lies, they're not substance. Like I said, darkness is nothing. You can't measure darkness, the speed of darkness, but you can measure the speed of light, because truth, light, love is a substance there, and that's where peace comes in. Okay. So I wanted to bring this up, to your awareness, because this is a big deal, because you can get stuck in this darkness and in that hole for a long time. And so I want to try to help you, let you know, don't, it's hard. I don't know exactly what you've gone through. I don't know what you're feeling, all that stuff. Okay. So I don't claim to, but I know I've gone through my own darkness like that, my own isolation, my own 40 years roaming in the desert. And so I just want to say that there's a purpose, because there is a purpose. God didn't create you to suffer. Now, the thing is what we go through that's painful is a lot of times pain that we put on ourselves, because we don't want to let go of illusions. We don't want to face truth. We are the ones fighting against truth, and truth is God. So anyways, I just want to bring this up because you to get it over with, you might as well go through the fire. You might as well stop trying to not go through it and trying to resist. You might as well just face truth and work through it and involve God, because He will help you. He wants to help you. That's the whole purpose, to learn lessons, and then you through experiencing God, through going through fires, trials and tribulations, you gain wisdom, you gain experience, gain wisdom, and gain confidence. And it really also, when you involve God, like it really builds that relationship. Okay? It's just like with anyone else. Like when you're hanging out with people, the more you hang out with them, the more you do with them, the more you experience together, the more you kind of have that bond. And that's the way it works with us anyways, with God. God's always there. But our side of the relationship, and like I've mentioned before, relationships go both ways. So anyways, please Share below in the comments, thoughts, questions, your experiences. Maybe you're going through that right now. Maybe you're in the desert right now, or whatever. But if you like the video, thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Ring-a-ding-a-ling that bell for notifications to let you know when I upload videos. And as always, stay strong, because this journey is hard, but it is temporary, and the gifts we gain are eternal. So try to keep that in mind. I have to remind myself of that a lot. But stay strong, and God bless.